Okay guys, I'm going to jump right in. Hey Nikki, so I'm 15 years old and I've had a group of 4 best friends practically my whole life. We've always been together, but one of my friends has always been extremely mean and controlling over the rest of us. After years of her bullying, we finally broke off the friendship. This happened around the same time she made some bad choices that really damaged her reputation. I would never drop a friend because they made some poor decisions, but she has convinced tons of people that we stopped being friends because of what she did and not because she was a bad friend. It got to the point that her mom yelled at us in public and said that we were mean and awful girls. She made us the bad guys in the situation, even though we didn't do anything wrong but end a toxic friendship. How can I convince people that we weren't the ones causing her harm? Thanks. Okay, so there's one sentence that immediately popped to my mind over this whole thing, and that is that actions speak louder than words. I don't think you need to go convincing anyone. In fact, I don't think you should really be talking about it a whole lot. I think you should just be focusing on being a good person and being the best friend that you can be to people around you and being caring. You know, I'm starting to realize more and more and more in life, and I've always thought this, but I'm realizing this more and more, and I think part of that has to do with being on YouTube, that you will never fully make everyone happy and that you can't convince everyone to see your point of view, because sometimes people just won't, no matter how much you try to convince them, and they'll still think you're wrong. Everyone has different points of views, different cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds, so the best thing that you can do is really strive to be the best you can possibly be, and to be kind and considerate and think of others and to not gossip. And even though you feel that you were in the right, by telling other people and trying to convince them that you were right is a form of gossip. Things get around. People aren't stupid. Other people are just like you. They can see things. So if you just let it be, like, people will figure things out. And if they don't, and they're the type of person that just believes whatever this girl's running her mouth saying anyways, then they're probably not the type of person you want to be besties with anyways, because there's someone who just believes whatever they hear. So I would just stay quiet about it and just keep doing your thing and being nice to people, you know, and just being you and showing through your actions what, you know, who you are. And I was thinking about that too the other day, even in little things. Like, I feel like I try to let my actions speak louder than my words, but I feel like there are times where that doesn't happen, where sometimes my actions show the opposite, or people interpret it as the opposite. And that's what I mean about how you can't be so obsessed, and I'm not saying you're obsessed, but you know what I mean, you can't be so obsessed with trying to convince other people that you're a certain person, because in your efforts to try to convince someone, you could actually be making them think something else. So you have to just live your life and try to do the right thing. Now, I know some people are like, what is the right thing? You know, for me, I try to, like, you guys know I'm a Christian, I try to look at the Bible and see what it says there and try to live my life like that. I'm obviously always changing and growing, and I mess up things freaking all the time, but that's kind of where that is, you know, where I go to figure out what's right and what's wrong and all that. But I think that that's the best advice I can give you, is just be you, just live your life, do your thing, and don't try to convince anyone of anything, because you don't need to, and you don't need to gossip about her. Everybody's inclination is to run and tell people like, no, 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 no. So you have to be a strong person and hold back and just go, no, I'm not going to say anything. I've had those situations. I had a situation like that a few years ago where I had a fallout with someone and I made the choice not to tell anyone. And then there were people there and they knew, but I didn't tell other mutual friends. Some people know who will never know this person, but most people don't. I just chose not to really talk about it because I was like, well, it doesn't need to be talked about, you know? So, and that's hard, but it feels better that way. Trust me. Trust me. So, I guess that is it. Send your messages to asknikkip@gmail.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.